Good afternoon. The next topic that we are going to see is chapter 6, health and disease. In this, the first topic is environment and health. We can also say that it is environmental health. Okay, so the definition is that environment is all the external factors. It can be living or non-living, material and non-material, which surround man that cause health problems. Okay, all the factors which surround man, so it is not something which is inside man but around us, which can cause health problems. That is environment and health. Okay, so there are three main components. One is a physical component, which comprises of water, air, soil, house, waste and radiation. The next one is biological, which we are not going to see because it is not, though it is part of the environment, it is you are studying about bacteria, virus and other subjects like community health. So plant and animal life, including bacteria, virus, insects, rodents and animals, these can cause disease. Then the social things, so this is the main thing which you will be studying in a third year, so that is also not part of your syllabus. So it is customs, cultures, habits, income, occupation and religion, how these affect the health. So the main concentration in this chapter, as we think about environment, is the air, water, soil, housing, waste and radiation. We also will see about heat and cold and height, all these things. So sanitation is very important for the health of a person. So what is sanitation? Sanitation, we can say it's cleanliness. So what is clean? The individual should be clean. Not only the individual but the surroundings should be clean. What are the surroundings? The house. If you live in a farm, then the farm should be clean. If you work in a business, the business area should be clean. Your community should be clean, and all the people should have the focus, that is that environment should be clean. So everybody should work towards environment cleanliness. So people should not spit on the floor, people should not do also like taking bath near the river. So these things can all cause pollution and poor sanitation. So sanitation is very very important. If the sanitation is not there, then it can cause a lot of diseases. So what are the environmental factors that affect the health? We already saw water, air, ventilation, noise, radiation and waste, unnecessary waste which is lying around the house. All these can cause problems to the health of a person. So let us see water in detail. Water we will be seeing much more in detail, because as per WHO guidelines, wash or water and sanitation, hygiene, these are the three things. So because water is the only one which comes in the environment factor, sanitation is a concept and hygiene is also a concept, whereas water is a physical thing. So we will be seeing water in detail. We will also be seeing about air and other things. Okay, so what is water? Water is defined as safe and wholesome, that is it is considered to be good water when it is free from pathogenic agents. Pathogenic agents means virus, bacteria, so these should not be present in the water. And the water should be free from harmful chemical substances and should be pleasant to the taste. So when you drink water, it should not be bitter, it should not be having other tastes, and it should not have any chemicals. There should be no color to the water, there should be no smell in the water. Then you can say the water is clean and safe for drinking purposes. Okay, so when these criteria are not fulfilled, that is if water has some color, water has some smell, if it is not good to drink, if it has some chemicals, then it is considered to be contaminated water or polluted water. Okay, so you know what is polluted water or contaminated water, and what is safe water. So let us see where we use water. We use water in domestic purposes, that is houses, for drinking, bathing, washing, all these things. Then public, so in the public areas, water is being used in fountains to clean public areas, like that. And industrious, so industries use it for many purposes, to clean, to add to the chemicals and all these things. Then agricultural, as for the plants to grow, power generation and carrying away waste things. So these are the uses of water. So let's see where the water comes from. What are the sources of water? See, there is a water cycle, that is, water which is present in the ocean evaporates and then it is in the clouds and it comes down as rain. So, this is the water cycle. So, this water cycle keeps continuing and repeated every year. So, this water which comes as rain is enough for most people. But other than that, there should also be other types of water. So other than rainwater, we have surface water, water from reservoirs, water from rivers and streams, waters from tanks, ponds and lakes, groundwater, well water. Well water can be three types: shallow well, deep well, tube well, and then artesian wells and springs, which we are not going to see. So first let us see about the rainwater. As I said, rainwater comes through the water cycle. That is, water evaporates from the ocean. You would have studied in geography in school. There is a water cycle. Evaporates from the ocean, and the cloud is blown by the wind towards the land, and it rains on the land as rain, bringing water. So this water is the purest form of water. If you catch the rainwater, it is clear, bright and sparkling, and it can be drunk as it is. So there are no impurities in the rainwater. Okay, but these days, because of high number of industries, there is a lot of pollutants in the air. So when the rain falls from the cloud, it mixes with the air and comes down as acid rain in some places. Okay, so there can be impurities in rain at times if the air is very impure. Okay, what is surface water? Surface water is rainwater which stays on the surface of the ground. So this is highly contaminated. See, this is the water which you see on the roads. After it rains, if you see on the roads, there is a lot of water. So this is because it gets contaminated with the pollutants on the ground. There are a lot of animal waste, human waste which is present on the ground. So the water gets polluted with all these things. So this is polluted water. And many of the cities depend on groundwater or surface water for the drinking purposes, and the water from the surface then goes into the reservoirs, rivers, tank, pond, lake. All these things get filled by the rainwater, which collects as groundwater, okay, or surface water. Slowly, if the surface water is not used, it gets accumulated as groundwater because it goes inside the ground. Then next we come to the river as the source of water. So river, how does river starts? One thing is, in the hills, if there is rain, it starts as a river. The other thing is, if there is a snow, then when it melts, it becomes river. So Ganga and all, the river Ganga or Ganges as we call it, is because of melting of snow, whereas Kaveri and other rivers are because of rainwater which falls over a large area, especially in the hills. There are many cities that rely on river water. Delhi relies on Yamuna, Calcutta and Allahabad rely on water from the rivers for their regular use. So river water is also polluted. You know, Vellore has Pala river. Pala river has a lot of pollutants from Ambur and Ranipet because of the leather factories, and all the pollutants get inside the water. So the government has made a rule that all this water from the industries should be processed and treated, and then only when the clean water is clean, it should be allowed into the rivers. And the rivers can also be polluted because people take bath in the river, and they wash their clothes near the river, and most of the houses, they have open sewage which goes and mixes with the river. But the one advantage of river is the river water will self-purify. That is, because there is sand in the river water gets accumulated under the ground. There is sedimentation and the water becomes pure. So river water is considered to be one of the pure waters, especially because it is flowing. It is not stagnant in one area. The next is tanks and ponds. You know, tanks and ponds are sometimes man-made, sometimes it is natural. So most of the villages will have some tanks where they have water which is present in the ground. So these tanks are a source of water which can be used by the people for agricultural purposes and also for other purposes. Okay, so tank is nothing but a pond, small pond. So it is not the tank which is inside your house. It is a tank, means a large tank. a large ground which has been dug and water is stored. So it's like a pond. Okay, so some of the ponds are man-made, some of the ponds are natural. So water gets collected here. This is also contaminated because a lot of people from the villages where the tank is located, they take bath, they give bath to the animals, they wash their clothes, and this is a stagnant water. This water does not move like rivers, so it is very polluted, and there is very little sand filtration available in tanks, so it is more polluted than river water. The next is seawater. The one problem with seawater is there is a lot of salt which is present, and the conversion of salt water into drinking water is very expensive. We have one salt water plant in Chennai, so it helps to convert the seawater into drinking water. Once that is possible, then it helps solve the water problem. So then the groundwater. So groundwater means the water is present under the ground. When it rains, the water goes inside the ground. The advantage is because it goes through the sand inside the ground, so the water goes inside the ground and it is safe for drinking. So this groundwater is what we collect. Even the Tamil Nadu government told that we should have rainwater harvesting. So whatever rain is collecting on the rooftop, it comes through pipes to the ground. So this water is taken into the ground using a filtration method which has sand and gravel. So the water from the rain goes into the ground, and there it becomes pure because the soil has filtration methods and the water is pure. So this groundwater we bring out again through wells and through pumps, and then we use it for drinking and for other purposes. So next, how do we use the groundwater? Through the wells. What are the types of wells? There are two types of wells, shallow wells and deep wells. Just like the name says, shallow wells means it is a superficial well, it is not very deep, whereas deep wells means it goes very deep, like even bore wells you can say. That's another type of well. So most of the wells, if you see in our country, in villages, there are wells which are at the ground level. There is no wall around the well, but we should have wall around the well so that people do not fall inside the well. A common accident that happens in our country is animals and human beings fall inside the well. So we should have a building or layer around the well to protect it from people falling inside. So the other type of well is tube well. Tube well is well which is very deep. It's also called the bore well. So it's like a tube which is put deep into the ground, and the water is pumped out using a motor or through a hand pump. Okay, two ways in which we can bring water out through the bore well. You can pump the water out, or you can have a motor which is run by electricity which takes the water to the tank. So that is about water. So the next part of environment is the air. So air is surrounding us, it is clean, we breathe the air inside, and air is very necessary for us to live our natural life. But the air can have pollution in it, that is gases and other matters can mix with the air. This can cause a lot of health problems. So this is a common problem that we see, and this leads to severe discomfort to human beings and also animals. So how does pollution occur? There are two ways in which pollution can occur. One is the natural pollution, because of natural things, like for example volcano or a dust storm, then fire in the forest. These can lead to pollution of the air in a natural way. There is no human cause for it. The other cause is anthropogenic or man-made cause. Okay, so here when people smoke or when the use of vehicles, this can lead to pollution of the air. So what happens when air gets polluted? There are three ways in which it affects the health of a person. There are 3 or 4 chemicals which can cause pollution. One is sulfur oxide. This can lead to respiratory problems, heart and lung problems. Then eyesight can be reduced, and it can also lead to acid rain. Nitrogen oxide, which is one of the pollutants, can cause lung problems, pulmonary disorders. Then it can lead to increased respiratory infection. The other things that can cause pollution is carbon monoxide, which leads to anorexemia, which is lack of sleep, then cardiovascular problem, heart attacks. Then small children and old women, pregnant women, can be affected, and elderly people are also affected because of this. Then ammonia can lead to burning sensation of the eyes, nose and throat and the respiratory tract, and it can ultimately lead to blindness, lung damage and other things. So these are the causes of air pollution. One is natural, the other is man-made. So we can measure the quality of air through the air quality index. If you remember in the news you would have heard about Delhi. Every day they measure the air quality index because Delhi is one of the most polluted places with air pollution. Okay, so a lot of people wear masks all the time to protect the health of themselves. Then the next thing that can cause health problems because of the environmental factor is noise. See, we don't think noise has much of problem, but generally noise also can cause a lot of health problems. See, when crackers are burst, then when people work in the industry, there are a lot of noise. Even in the traffic, there is a lot of noise pollution. So it can be industrial or non-industrial noise pollution. Industries, there are a lot of noise because machines are used, and non-industrial is the transport. And sometimes even recreational problems can cause noise problems. For example, if you use dance with loud music, and even for religious purposes we use music or loud mic system, then it can cause noise pollution. So noise pollution can also be measured, and government says there are strict regulations on how serious the noise can be, how severe the noise can be. So there are two ways in which it can affect the health. Non-auditory, that is with it can general effects on the body is stress. It can also lead to psychological and behavioral problems like hypertension, sleep problems and cardiac problems. And the auditory effects, or the effects in the ear, are tinnitus, that is there is a continuous sound in the ear. So this can be caused because there is heavy noise at times. And finally, if the noise is too much, like the bomb blast and things like that, there can be permanent hearing loss also. So noise should also be controlled in our environment. The next important thing is the radiation. See, radiation can be man-made, that is through medical and dental x-rays that we use, even the ultrasound, all these are radiation. There can be radiation in the environment also. See, nuclear radiation, and even any meteorite which falls, it can cause radiation. Even our cell phones are supposed to have radiation, but most of this radiation is very minimal, very less. If the radiation is too much, then it can cause serious problems in the health. In fact, in your third year disaster management, this radiation is one of the most important topics. So you will be studying this again in third year. So one of the common health problems caused by radiation is chromosomal mutation, that is your chromosomes in your body gets mutated, and there can be, your children can have cancer, their children can have cancer for generations. It can cause cancer in the affected people. So it's a very serious problem. Then there can be delayed problems, like children who are born, they can have abnormalities, like they can have small hand, small legs, brain is not developed well. So these are all serious problems that can be caused by radiation. You would have studied about radiation in chemistry in school. So that same radiation, there are certain elements that cause radiation. So we have to protect ourselves. In hospitals we use lead aprons to protect ourselves from the radiation. So there is a maximum allowed radiation which can be measured by the dosimeter. All the X-ray students will wear dosimeter, so we can measure the radiation, and if they are exposed too much, then they are told to avoid going to the radiation area. The government also made laws, like Atomic Energy Regulatory Board makes rules and regulations where they tell how much radiation has to be a person can be exposed to, and also they check all the equipments which emit radiation. So based on that only they give permission to use the radiation emitting equipments. So that is the other thing. Finally, we also talk about global warming. What is global warming? You would have heard in the news about global warming. So our country becomes warm every day. If you see, every summer it becomes much more warmer. The climate becomes warmer. The temperature of the earth increases by 1 degree every few years. The reason for that is natural causes and man-made causes. Natural causes because of the volcanoes and because of the general temperature rise. Man-made causes because we emit a lot of gases from our vehicles and industries. This leads to increase in temperature, and it also causes melting of the ice in the polar areas. And when we cut down trees, that also causes increase in temperature. When we use a lot of mining, that also increases temperature. And a lot of agricultural people, what they do, after they finish a crop, they burn the crop, so that also increases the temperature. So these are the causes of global warming. So what happens if there is global warming? It causes acid rains. Then we talked about the hydrological cycle which causes rain, so that is affected. So rain is affected, the glaciers melt. So when this happens, the sea water rises. Already the world is surrounded by water, three-fourth is water. So when the water level rises, all the low-lying areas get flooded. So that can lead to loss of life and property. So how do we prevent global warming? We plant a lot of trees, then it will reduce the temperature. Then we have to use less automobiles, vehicles, less air conditioners and refrigerators. All this will help to reduce the global warming. We also have to educate the people and prevent use of plastic bags. All this can help in reducing global warming. The other three important things that are that are a part of the environmental health is heat stress. That is, when you are exposed to severe heat, that causes health problems. How do you get exposed to heat? When you work in a company where there is a lot of heat generated, like steel industry, they melt the steel at high temperatures, so that can lead to increased heat. So this can lead to heat stroke. Or even a person who works in the hot sun, they can have heat stroke. And heat hyperplexia is fever caused by heat, so it goes up to 106 degrees also. Then people who are continuously working in 102 degrees Fahrenheit can cause heat exhaustion. They become exhausted, they become tired, and it leads to heat cramps, heat syncope, that is they faint, மயக்கம் போட்டு விழுந்துருவாங்க. So it is heat syncope. That also caused by heat stress. How do we prevent heat stress? We have to drink a lot of water, that is hydration. Then the number of working hours should be reduced, especially under hot sun. If they work, either they work in the morning or in the evening and not during the peak summer. Then you should wear light colored cloth, and you should also wear goggles for the eyes and helmets, and this will help in reducing the health problems caused by heat. Then some people work in extreme cold conditions, like the army people, so they can get diseases like hypothermia, that is less temperature in the body, so that leads to frostbite, trench foot, all this because blood supply reduces, and they can have gangrene which forms in the toes, fingers. These areas can get gangrene because blood supply is decreased because of very less temperature. So how to prevent this? You can wear thick cloth, you do regular exercise, and avoid smoking, good nutrition. These will help in preventing health problems because of extreme cold. Some people work in high altitudes, okay? So if you go and climb a hill, especially Mount Everest and things like that, you get mountain sickness, that is vomiting can happen, and you also feel very difficult to breathe because as you go higher up the mountain, the amount of oxygen present in the air is very less, so that leads to pulmonary problems. You get edema or inflammation of your lungs. So then you also get cerebral edema, that is your brain becomes swollen up. So these are the problems that are caused due to high altitude. So if you climb or if you go in a vehicle to great height, then these things are caused to your health. So to prevent that, as you climb every 5 kilometers higher, or every 1 kilometer higher, you have to wait and take some rest so that your body gets used to it. And you can also prevent high altitude sickness by using medicines like acetazolamide. Okay, acetazolamide. So this can help in preventing high altitude illness. So these are the common problems, which health problems which you face because of the environment. So heat, cold, global warming, high altitude, air, water, these are all nature. So natural problems which lead to, or environmental problems that cause health problems, are these factors. Okay, so in the next class we'll see about the occupational health. Thank you.